Most Catholics know Christmas. Most Catholics know Easter. But if we're honest, many Catholics don't really understand the most important 3 days of the entire year. Not Christmas, not even Easter Sunday by itself, but something deeper, something richer, something the Church calls the Triduum. And here's the reality. These are not just days we attend. They are days we are meant to enter. And if we truly enter them, they can change us. Welcome to the Catholic Journey with Deacon Pat. And today we're not just going to talk about the Triduum, we're going to walk through it. Because the Triduum isn't understood by explanation alone. It's understood by experience. And maybe the best way to see that is through a story. There was a man named Michael, not a bad man. He believed in God. He showed up to Mass sometimes, tried to live a decent life. But if he was honest, his faith had become comfortable, predictable, something he fit in when it worked. And then one year a friend simply said, "Come to Holy Thursday." He almost said no. He didn't really know what it was, but something quiet, persistent, nudged him, so he went. And this is where everything begins, Holy Thursday. Not just the start of a long weekend, but the beginning of a single unfolding mystery. The night Jesus gives us the Eucharist, the priesthood, and the command that echoes through time, love one another as I have loved you. Michael sat there, unsure of what to expect, and then something unexpected happened. The priest knelt, and he began washing feet, slowly, gently, reverently. And in that moment, Michael saw something he had never really allowed himself to see. God kneeling. Not distant, not demanding, but serving. And without fully understanding why, something in him began to soften. But the Triduum doesn't stay in that quiet comfort. It moves, it deepens, it draws you further in when you're ready or not. The next day, almost without thinking, Michael came back, and immediately he could feel it. The church was different, stripped down, silent, heavy. Because Good Friday is not a reenactment. It is a confrontation. There is no Mass, no consecration, just the cross. Because this is the day we remember Jesus died, not as a symbol, but in reality. People began to walk forward, one by one, kneeling, touching, kissing the cross. Michael stayed back at first. It felt too close, too personal. But something kept pulling at him, so eventually he stepped forward, slowly. And when he reached the cross, he stopped. Because suddenly, this wasn't about history anymore. This was about him, his failures, his compromises, the ways he had drifted. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't look away. He didn't justify. He didn't minimize. He simply whispered, "I'm sorry," and kissed the cross. And then, nothing. No music, no conclusion, just silence. This is where most people disconnect, Holy Saturday. No liturgy during the day, no movement, just waiting. And yet, this might be the most honest day of all, because it reflects something we all experience, moments where God feels silent, where hope feels distance, where we don't see what he's doing. Michael almost didn't return that night. Part of him thought, "I've done enough," but something deeper says, "Don't stop now." So he went. And that's when everything changed. The church was completely dark, still, quiet, and then a flame appeared, small, flickering, but real. And slowly, light began to spread, from one candle to another, until the darkness was pushed back. This is the Easter Vigil, the turning point of everything. from death to life, from darkness to light, from despair to hope, and the church proclaims, He is risen. Michael stood there, holding a candle, watching the darkness disappear, and something inside him finally broke open, because now he understood, not just with his mind, but with his heart, that this wasn't just about Jesus rising. This was about him being invited to rise, to leave behind who he had been, to step into something new. And in that moment, he didn't just attend, he entered. And that's the difference. The Triduum is not something we observe, it's something we walk. We sit at a table, we stand at a cross, we wait in silence, and then we rise. So this year, don't just show up for Easter Sunday. Don't miss the journey that leads to it. Enter all 3 days, even if you don't fully understand, even if it feels unfamiliar, because grace doesn't wait for full clarity. It responds to openness. Michael didn't go in knowing what he was doing. He just showed up and stayed and allowed himself to be led. And by the end, he wasn't the same. And maybe this year, you won't just go to church, you'll walk with Christ. Thank you for joining me on the Catholic Journey. Again, this is Deacon Pat. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who has never experienced the Triduum, because these 3 days can change everything. God bless you.